Fat Man mug. That's going. That's going. You're looking fly as hell.
Okay.
I think we just started yet again.
Okay.
The Triggerman podcast, episode 14, with Pastors Octavio.
Yeah, hey.
I was like, what the? I re-listened the first one again.
Yes.
It's like, what the fuck was the full name again? Cesar Octavio or something. I was like, going. So reintroduce yourself again. He was on it before, so anyone that is watching for the first time or listening for the first time now, you're back. I'm back for the 14th time.
Well, I'm glad you took the time to research me.
Oh, yeah. Like,
don't even know my name.
No. It's like, it's fucking, I don't even know what podcast is. I had to look it up earlier. I was like, how many of these did I do? And I was like, no, it's definitely, I think it was like 14. So I'm pretty sure we're on episode 14.
So but first, how long have we known each other again? About a year and a half?
Way longer than that now.
2 years, maybe.
I would push nearly 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, I know, because the job I started, which I don't talk about.
I know. Yeah.
That I do or did then.
Yes.
I did that started maybe over 3 years ago.
Okay,
about 3 years ago.
So 3 years. Okay.
Yeah. This
Right.
I think it was this summer 3 years ago. So pushing it. We're pushing it. We're getting there.
Yeah. Well, I'm Octavio Cesar Martinez here with
Jimmy
the Triggerman, and we met over coffee and we talked and we got to know each other. I've been super excited to see some of the things and changes in your life. And first of all, congratulations.
Oh yeah.
Are in order. You're engaged.
Oh yeah. This is the very first. So I haven't done a podcast in over a month. So yeah, we went to Ireland and came back half hitched, I guess.
Yeah, half hitched on your way.
Half hitched, yeah, with the missus. We both hate the word fiance. So the wife to be, Ashley. So you met her. So as everyone will be asking probably, you just met her a few minutes ago. But yeah, it was cool.
And this is a whole new rig set here. You have a hoo-hoo mics and the setup. Is that what that is? Hoo-hoo?
The hoo-hoo, yeah. It's Amazon's finest. So.
Really? Well, listen, this is pretty impressive. So thanks for having me back on.
No, absolutely. A pleasure. And I always, even when you walked into the my house, as this is, even the first thing I actually said, I've heard a lot about you. It goes, yeah, because there's as I said I don't know what number it was. It was episode 5 or 6 or whatever. Probably earlier than that you were on. I was like, there are weird people that come into your life, and then they're they at certain moments they reintroduce themselves, but they're always a constant pulse, no matter how slow or whatever. And it's just weird. There's there's a handful of people, and if I ever need to think of life lessons or things that I might have learned off someone, a lot of the times I do reflect back on our conversations and stuff. And
thank you.
No, it's thank you. Jesus, you did probably more for me than you know as well. In
wow,
just conversations, coffee and conversations, and it's just your without fanboying, right? I really respect you. I think you're an awesome person, and I'm
thank you.
If I was an envious person, I'd be envious of you and your wisdom. But instead, I'll settle for your friendships. I haven't got time to be envious.
And ply me with coffee.
Yeah, enjoy.
I'll follow you anywhere after a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I'll start off with one of the things we talked about is that you mentioned the wisdom, as you know. Dr. Goodlow and I co-authored a book.
I want to hear all about this.
Well, so Dr. Goodlow had a talk.
Don't be afraid of the hoo-hoo.
Don't be afraid of the hoo-hoo.
You can move it if you need to.
Okay, how about
do whatever? Just get into your face.
Get it.
There. That's beautiful right there.
There you go. All right. So he had developed a talk called "Habits: 6 Steps to the Art of Influence," and it was a short speech, and I had helped him with other speeches and other talks in the past, and so he was looking to develop a second book. Mm-hmm. He's the author of Kingmaker. The leadership style of Dr. Martin Luther King has done really, really well. So we entered into a co-authorship agreement, spent most of 2017 co-authoring this book. And Jimmy, what this is about is taking our combined 50 years of leadership, and I'll say the word more influence, okay, influencing, okay, from different arenas that we're part of. Dr. Goodlow comes from an academic background. He's spoken at the Pentagon. He was a college athlete, a quarterback for a football team. And so he's in that world and also primarily known as let's say, a Bible teacher or preacher.
Yeah, I wanted to to reintroduce your background as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I joked twice in the kitchen about, you said, whatever, you said some stuff. And I was like, he's a pastor, by the way, or ex-pastor, or whatever the hell you want. You are a man of God, a man of religion.
So that's right. So we knew each other from pastoring similar churches, and that's how we got to know each other, from a Southern Baptist tradition. So I come from the world of technology, 30 years of AT&T. I had spent 3 years in volunteer law enforcement, did work overseas, did work in faith communities / churches. So we combined those years
Sorry, that's funny. Faith communities. Churches. You're just the bad words.
Yeah, there's just some words that are so emotionally and visually loaded that you say certain things, people already peg you.
Yeah.
Like you must get it with your tattoos.
Yeah, of course.
I get it with the tattoos I have.
Yeah, and that's like the best. I think again, anytime I do talk, we can stray from conversation. It's fine. But
we're doing now.
Exactly. But like anytime I do talk to you, I was like, no, you don't understand. This guy's cool. He's hip. He's got tattoos on his hands. He swears a lot. It's insane. I've never met anyone like this. And like we can have the most from the last conversation. I still don't believe or think a lot of things you do, but like that has nothing to do with respecting that person. Like, and I hold you so high in my totem pole of people that I respect, and it's like it has nothing to fucking do about whatever the hell you believe. I love that part. Like,
well, you know what I think? What I appreciate about you, and I told my wife this, is that Jimmy is a skeptic, and he's not landed on a particular thing. He's got a lot of questions, but what I've experienced from you is an open mind, a seeking mind, and respect. Even when you didn't agree with my conclusions, like, hey, okay, that's cool. I see where you got there. I don't believe it, but I see how you got there at least. Yeah. So we wrote the book. The word habits is each letter stands for a principle. They're not an order, a particular order. You can do any one of them at any time, but each letter, as I said, expresses a principle to make it memorable, to make it repeatable, to make it teachable. And H is have fun. A is assume the best of others. B is be good soil. I is insist on excellence. T is treat the needs of others as sacred or important. And then S, seek community. And the book goes on to unwrap what those mean. It's written from the perspective of being able to help a parent, a politician, a president of a company, a pastor, a policeman, who wishes to influence their children, team, group, organization in a healthy way. And everybody does it. Everybody's influencing somebody else. And so... Is
it religious based, or is it a principle thing?
Yeah. That's a good question. Part of me didn't want to include any kind of religious overtones to make it a bit more accessible to people who were not churchy. Yeah. It was difficult because I realized that a lot of the
churchy
word
of the day.
Word of the church. Jot it down.
Okay, it's in my head because it's hilarious.
Well, I mean, there are some people that are churchy, right?
Yeah, of course.
Have you ever gone out to eat on a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, of course.
What do you see?
Packed restaurants and
of churchy people.
Yeah, of little families doing their Sunday after sermon thing. Go to a Denny's. It's fucking insane.
Yes, and in fact, that used to be a thing, a sore point with me. Over the years, I found I've said it several times that if you're at a restaurant on a Sunday in particular, tip well, even if you didn't like it, because I've asked so many servers in the past, what's the worst day of the week to work? And you know what they always say? Sundays.
Has to be.
Because church people are lousy tippers, rude, demanding.
Shit. You heard it here, folks.
I'm sure there's a podcast somewhere where I was given a sermon talking about this. Or they'll leave a religious literature behind as if that's worth anything.
That don't pay the bills,
That
bro.
doesn't pay the bills. No, it does not. I think... if you want to be an example of Jesus and his generosity, leave a heavy tip, and especially if they see you praying over a meal.
Yeah.
Why do you want to give the impression that God is cheap?
Yeah. Oh, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so...
I think you're just like, because it's your world, you're not sensitive, you're hyper self-aware of like what cheapens things and what makes things, like you make, without sounding like weird, like you make God look fucking good. Like that's to me, like it honestly, it's so fucking cool. I'm like going, okay. I can sit down at any time. I can have a conversation with this dude. It's always going to be a good conversation. I'm never going to leave offended or upset or feel like I've been robbed of something. Like it's just,
yeah.
It's good.
Well, thank you.
No, I don't know. That's just how I see it. And I'm just, as you said, like, I guess I am a bit of a skeptic. I don't know.
No. Well, you are. I mean,
I say asshole, but whatever. Like, no big deal.
Your word?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Well, listen, this is something, when you're saying, well, first of all, thank you for that. That means a lot to me. But that's the very thing that St. Paul said in one of his personal letters to a church, he said that we are, he called it living letters to other people that are read, that our lives are being read by the public. And maybe to put it in more generic terms, we are, we are God's social media, God's branding. I mean, people who have a poor impression of church or church people, they think ill of Christians, or if they hear that you are a person that takes the Bible seriously, they already peg you as, you probably don't think highly of women, you might be undereducated, you probably own a gun, you're probably for certain things that are tentatively negative.
Yeah.
Well, part of that is the fault of people that go to church, because we have given that impression. I mean, to a large degree, some of that stereotype is true.
Yeah.
And it's awful, but true. So
it's just as you said, like, oh, like a guy like you with tattoos and stupid hair, you might get stigmatized. Yeah, I do, because there's idiots that look like me that are out there doing drugs and selling drugs.
Or
violent and killing people. And I'm like, go to prison and they probably look like me. I'm like, oh my God.
I think you might scare some people in prison.
Hey,
but that's my impression.
I've got beautiful hair, so I sincerely do it. Yeah. But I get it. It's just, and the weird part for me is like, because people do say that, or they get curious and they ask me questions as well. Like the whole there's a stigmatism behind people with tattoos. You have tattoos on your freaking hands, of all places.
But that's where I started them.
Oh, of course, Jesus Christ.
But I'll tell you, this was the short story behind this is because of my previous years in my 20s. I was very self-destructive, very violent, and
really,
my hands.
You didn't tell me this last
We
time.
didn't talk about this?
No.
Oh wow. So, well, this is sort of the subject of my second book coming this fall. My second book is called "It Was a Beautiful Day When My Father Died."
Wow, that's okay.
Provocative enough?
Yeah. All
okay,
right,
good.
Let's go.
I hit the right curve.
There's a rabbit hole.
Well, in that book, in fact, I actually posted part of the last chapter recently on Facebook.
Okay.
But my dad was a AAA dad, alcoholic, abuser, adulterer.
Oh, same. All right. Cool story. Welcome to the club.
Okay, welcome to the club, right. And so some of the things that happened and some of the physical abuse and all the other crap that goes on with that, I carried that with me for the longest time. It was just a bunch of hatred and contempt I had towards my father. But the symptoms of that was my own self-destructive behavior. And so my hands had a lot of scars from self-injury. I spent a short time in a hospital having surgery to repair my hands. And so when my late 20s, when they were on cold days, kind of like your Irish summers, the scars would be purplish, and people would ask, oh, what happened? And I was just too embarrassed to say, well, I self-injured. Yeah. So I'd make up some stupid story.
So do you mind, were you cutting your hands or something?
I was cut. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay.
A few
I just know a lot of kids that still do it. And,
right.
They ask me about it, and I was more of a inside my head harmer. I guess I destroy myself from the inside out instead.
Which is almost, I would say, Jimmy, that's probably more destructive and insidious, because the scars on the outside, you can heal them.
Yeah, I've been going through therapy and stuff as well.
Good.
and me and then Ashley, we do it as well, just because we want to be healthy and stuff as well. But, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. I'm going like this week as well for the first time in ages.
Yeah.
And all I've really learned, and I mean this in the nicest way possible about myself, that, what, you good?
No, yeah, I was just listening.
That I just like, I'm a crazy person, but it's like, now I'm like, oh shit, I know it now. I'm aware of the things that are fucking with my mind, and then in turn we're like physically creating, like, I was sick for most of last year. I do this sick as I couldn't figure it out, and it was just stress. Like, I was like destroying myself from, again, the inside out. It was just.
Well, I'll put a pause briefly on what I was talking about with my hands, but that probably parallels what I was experiencing. It was this conscious and unconscious hurt, anger, contempt for my father that was poison I was drinking, and somehow hoping he would die.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
So I have a powerful encounter with God. And
how old were you?
Probably, like I said, my late 20s.
Okay.
Wow. At that point, I was destroying everything that was mattered to me. I was hurting my family. I was hurting my career. I was hurting myself. I was on my way to becoming an early statistic. So through a friend, and it was actually a therapy session, it was an ordained minister and a licensed therapist, combined a couple of worlds that spoke to me, a spiritual world and a therapeutic world, and had an amazing breakthrough. My first session, it was completely a 180 for me. So then on life, I've spent most of my 30s rebuilding everything. And then my 40s was a period where I was kind of plateauing.
You look a day over 38.
Yeah, well, then in my 50s,
Oh my God.
it was the years of spending working in church communities and nonprofits and traveling. And now, starting my 60s, it's as an author.
Really? I didn't think you were going to go past the 50s.
No, I made it, yeah.
Jesus, all right.
Yeah. And listen, had I known I was going to be this old, I would have taken better care of myself. I'll tell you that.
No, you look fucking great. Like, what are you talking about? Jesus. All right,
it's all the alcohol. It's been preserving me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So why the tattoos on the hand? So what happened is that because the scars were places of embarrassment to me, they were places of failure.
Yeah.
Places where I made mistakes. There is a tradition in the Bible, specifically the Old Testament, where God would tell his people to mark a moment or a place with a pile of stones.
Yeah.
And they were called standing stones, and Peter makes reference to this in the New Testament, called living stones. And that was, the purpose for that was whenever you were maybe doubting, or remember you had a moment you weren't sure, or to maybe talk about the situation, you could point to the stones and say, oh, let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about those stones in my field. This is where God did da-da-da-da-da. So for me, all my tattoos are religious. As you know, it says love wins on my fingers. 1 Corinthians 13:8. The iconic symbol for the heart of Jesus.
Yeah.
The Chi-Rho for the Christ is Lord, first couple Greek letters, the cross. Some symbols out of the Bible: God, character, wood, connection to God, wind for the Holy Spirit, water for baptism. That are, for me, they're kind of conversation starters.
Yeah, of course.
So before there were scars, people would say, "Oh, what happened to your hands?"
Yeah.
And now when someone asks me, "What's with the tattoos?" I'm able to tell them, well, this was my experience with my God.
That's amazing.
So that's why I had them there.
Yeah, it's great. I accidentally went. I don't know. I planned it. Went for one tattoo when I was 19.
That was it. Now you were hooked.
That was it. But I still only have one, as I always say. It's just one really big one.
Tattoo.
And like all of them make sense to me. It's like the same, just documenting like my life,
Right.
Except for the Batman ones. I just like Batman. But I'm a big nerd. But like it was the same thing, and I didn't like consciously go, I'm going to get tattoos everywhere, look like a badass and be cool. I'm like, it just kind of happened. And I was just like, shit.
I will tell you, I'm around a lot of conservative people.
Yeah.
I'm around people who are from the culture of church, let's say, in general. And there is mixed signals sometimes you do get. At first, people are looking, but they're not looking. This is what women must go through. I'll tell, hey, I'm up here.
Is that cleavage? Oh dear.
Hand cleavage?
Yeah.
So, well, let's start about the tattoos. And so the book is chronicles that journey and the breakthrough I had.
So is the book about specifically you, or you guys wrote this together
Oh, no. My dad passed away back in 2004.
Yeah.
And I was not in a good place when he died. I mean, I really still disliked him, and I was unaware that hatred and anger and lack of forgiveness was still affecting me, but it just wasn't as demonstrative as it had been.
Yeah.
And here I am at churches and small groups and Bible studies, preaching forgiveness and reconciliation, and I'm a relation expert. Oh, I hate my dad though.
Yeah.
And I was a horrible son, and I learned something interesting along the way, and that is in the holy book for our faith, the scriptures teach that we're supposed to love our enemies and love those that harm us and love this and that. It was interesting to find out, Jimmy, that it never tells people to love their parents. Like, wow, it was kind of a juxtaposition, because it starts off with, you love God, right?
Yeah.
But it just says honor. And then I further discovered that honoring your parents is one of the few people that the Bible says you're supposed to honor. I think, well, how do you honor somebody was kind of a despicable person? I mean, honestly, when he was dying, my brother told me a story that he asked for me, and I I didn't go.
Yeah.
And my dad was surprised to find out that I wasn't showing up. Until my brother told me that story just about a year and a half ago, I assumed he died alone. And quite frankly, I didn't care.
Wow.
He was just, he was my dad, but every negative thing about my life, I saw as from my dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't like. There's a whole like, oh, blood is thicker than water, but I'm like, nah. I'm not gonna like. I'm not. My thing in my head about like, so I don't even say. I just say my father figure person that's meant to be my. I can never say like he was my father.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have issues or something like. But it's just like I don't even want him to be responsible for me in any way, shape, or form. And his like, cause like you gave up, like you're done now.
Right.
And like if you gave up. I'm not even angry anymore. That's the thing. I'm like going, you just gave up. You fucked off.
Right.
You did all the triple
Right.
A's. It's like, and now I came to my mid 30s, I guess, approaching. And I'm like, I just don't care, dude. Like I've made myself known. My mother took the double duty, and she nearly put herself in an early grave trying to raise
Right.
two kids, and just like.
I bet you were a handful.
I don't know. I don't know what I was, to be honest. You'd have to ask her. Like like she always says I was good, and my brother was always good. But like, that's impossible. Like we were fucked up
She's
kids.
a sweet lady.
Yeah. She's a lunatic. But I can only imagine as like you I can only I don't have kids, so I can only imagine like you have kids. Like imagine just completely abandoning them, being like fuck off, don't even care about you anymore. Just you're done. I don't understand that human trait. Like that's
okay,
fucking.
So here's part of the breakthrough I think I had. The reason why I was able to get to a place where, quote, I wish to honor my father, was learning well, first of all, I mean, I have an allegiance I claimed to following Jesus and the Bible, but here's this thing that no, this one I won't do.
Yeah.
You know? And I had to come to grips that, okay, so who's going to have the final say in my life? Is it me? Is it God? Is it going to be maybe these other people who will side with me to, validate my point of view?
Which I think is what gives religion a bad name as well. Like that's
What do you mean?
as in like when those groups of people that do find their common. Let's use. I don't want to say guns, but like whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like just a thing. Like, and they're like, well, if I surround myself with a bunch of people that think the exact same as me, and we'll put it under the bracket of we all believe this and we all believe in this certain thing.
So we must be right.
Yeah, we're right. I'm like, oh, nah, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, I like the logic that says because most people believe this, it must be right. No, most people can be idiots.
Yeah. I thought, oh, God, I love you. Jesus Christ.
So, at any rate, I would say, short of, best way to say it was a very powerful second encounter with God, almost, 30 years after that first one.
Wow.
That was another big turning point in my life.
So this is only a few years ago then?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this is just a few years ago. And where it was like I vomited up all this spiritual and emotional poison that I kept in me and didn't know why I was ill. Didn't know why I couldn't make some breakthroughs in my life. And then, and so I this was actually a talk I would give about forgiveness. And every time we gave it, every time I gave it, people would respond like, and I got some issues to work through. In fact, I was just in Norway and Germany where I gave this talk twice last year.
Amazing.
And people were coming up actually saying, I have to make a career change because you revealed in me that I have issues with my parents. Now, this are some of the stories people told me, like, oh, I thought I had shitty parents.
Yeah.
One woman, she's in her 40s or something. Her parents used to pimp around when she was a child.
Wonderful.
I mean, how do you deal with that kind of mess?
I got dizzy when you said that. I was just like, that's when I know I'm kind of getting stressed. Like the room will start spinning. I'm like, they're not human beings. So.
Yeah. So how do you forgive someone who's so despicable, someone who's done that much damage to you? And then, so then I come in another picture. Here's Jesus being tortured. In the midst of that pain, he says, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. And it just dawned on me that I don't know what idea I had of forgiveness, but it wasn't correct. I thought forgiveness was like emotional distance. I thought it was maybe trying to have a peace truce. I thought it was, well, at least I'm not wishing them any harm. But it was much more than that. It was absolutely releasing and any kind of bitterness and actually wanting their best for them. And I got to a place in a split second, a powerful moment, where I was able to do that. And I recognized my own fault in this matter, that I never tried to reconcile with my dad. And as you mentioned the things about abandoning your kids and all that, you know, when kids are younger, they absolutely need their parents, their dad, to affirm them. But I've learned now, being on the way on the other end of this, that when you're older, you need your sons and daughters to say, well, yeah, you were an idiot, you were an asshole, but hey, you did this right. And so what happened is that all of a sudden, from that forgiveness, I was able to remember the past very differently. Now, all the things that I knew about my father and things that happened to me were still true, but I've forgotten all the other things that he did well. You know, you're kind to talk about clothing or this, that, and the other. My dad, my appreciation for food. My dad, he was always well groomed. He was funny. He made friends well. He taught me how to use tools. I mean, he took me to concerts. I mean, there were so many things. All of a sudden, it's like my memory of my father expanded to, I can remember some of the bad things, but they no longer have the emotional hold or maybe cause the emotional pain that they once did. And I'm able to remember so many good things he did do that I had internalized as lessons that I was trying to do for other people. So that changed everything. And so one way I try to now honor his memory is I remind my kids when his birthday is, and I'll post something on Facebook about what my dad did for me. But the second book is about that journey, what he did right, and then encouraging other people through perhaps their religious traditions or therapy to learn how to forgive. Because if not, you are drinking poison and hoping that other person somehow dies
from it.
Dies from it, yeah. And you're only harming yourself.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. This is not what we talked about last time.
No, it was not. Probably not what you were thinking we were going to talk about. I didn't think we'd get here either. But here we find ourselves.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of, I don't know, just weird conversations with wonderful people. So.
Well, what did start this connection again is that you had sent a screenshot. A couple of people had mentioned some comments. Yeah, about
that was so cool.
Yeah, that was nice to hear.
Yeah. So what happened was because I don't know, I'm not a YouTube comment reader. I don't like it. Like it's this weird world where I feel like the insecure of the elite insecure just go to. Because like everybody wants to be heard, everyone wants to feel like their opinion matters, everyone has something to say.
Yep.
I live in my world where like your opinion doesn't really fucking matter. Sorry, I don't care what you have to say.
Yeah.
Whatever. But I just got an email notification and said comment, and I was like, whatever. I usually just swipe it because I hate getting those fucking emails. I don't know how to get rid of like junk emails. I get all of them. So all right, I'll click it, and then I clicked on it. I was like, on your podcast, the last one we did. I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's
probably him.
Yeah. It's probably him or his wife or someone, or like one of your, like, I don't know if it's like a student or whatever, or someone that you did talk to or whatever. But it was like just a young like musician girl. I don't know her name, so if she watches this one, I know
this is for you.
This one. This
for you. This is for you. Yeah.
But like the comment was something like like she learned so much. She wasn't religious and like learned so much from you and talking and that
was nice when you sent that.
Yeah, but the way like I kind of am reiterating. I will to my grave. I'll say it, like I can sit down with people that aren't like minded and I can have conversations with them and I don't have to agree with them and I can still get along with them and I can still be friends with them and they can still mean something to me. And I think we live in this fucking crazy world where like I stopped watching the news. I had to like nearly 2 years ago this summer. I just had to because I realized it was a great source of anxiety for me, depression.
Sure.
And then like Facebook, I think it's a wonderful thing. The reason why I think it's a wonderful thing is you have full control over everything you see. So the people that complain about, oh, this is bullshit, I'm seeing like, no, you're choosing it. You can unfollow, you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I took that aspect into my life then just over 2 years ago as well. Like to be like, wait, no, I can fucking edit my life as well. I don't have to watch or see the news. I don't have to listen to people that are silly or stupid or fucking dumb. Like, I don't have to be even surrounded by anyone if I don't want to. This is amazing. And I really did wipe the slate clean. And yes, I did. I might have abandoned friendships as well in certain cases, or I might have just like left people that probably didn't deserve to be left behind, but I needed to do it, you know? So, and it gave me a sense of like, I'm taking charge of my life and I got to start clean again with people like you and like some of my best friends that are like, fucking, I really want to, if you're down again, to do it again.
Sure.
I want you to.
But by the way, do you notice I agreed? I didn't know what you were saying you were down for.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, well, there you go. That's it's a beautiful thing. Just like you're like, we should go and do it. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Let's go. Like,
let's go.
I'm happy to do it with you. I don't.
By the way, you know what this reminds me of? Did you ever see The Town?
Well,
it was a bank robbery movie in Boston.
What is it about? Is it that the one with the 3 dudes that robbed the bank?
I think there was Ben Affleck and...
It's old, though.
Not too old, but anyway, what it was is that Ben Affleck comes into this room. He tells this guy, I need you to help me. I got to go hurt somebody. Don't ask any questions. He goes, oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. But no, perfect example. Because now, like 2 years down, I'm surrounded by people that are like that. Like it's this weird, like, hey, can we go? Yeah, whatever. Do this. I'm like, basically, it's my way of saying, I enjoy your company. I really like you.
Yeah. Or
what do you need?
I trust you. I need you. I love you. You're my friend.
Yeah.
You would do it for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my friends, he did the last podcast. He's been on twice as well. TJ is his name. He was a survivor of 9/11. Like, he was in the buildings.
And got out, obviously.
Got out. Awesome.
Wow.
He's like one of the most incredible, amazing people I know.
Sure.
Like, so, but like, just like, he's so far atheist, it's insane. Like, right. I don't care, I'm not atheist, I'm just like you said, skeptic. I'm like a emoji. I'm like, I don't fucking know, I don't want to talk, I don't even claim to be an adult. Like, I'm not anything. I'm surprised I can get dressed in the morning.
You're engaged, you know that for sure.
I know that for sure. She reminds me every day. I love it, it's great, don't worry. Bling bling ring. I had a hashtag bling bling ring. But TJ is awesome, and I was like, God, I really want to fucking like get like, because I don't agree with everything he says either.
Right.
Like, so by under no circumstances in the whole, and he's so like sciencey and like spacey, and I'm like going, wow, I love all that shit as well. And just like I re-listened to a bit of our podcast, I was like, Jesus, yeah, all these like beautiful fucking, I still think there's stories, a lot of them, or like. Anytime we were talking on the last podcast, I kind of started laughing because I was driving. Every time you'd make like a point, like as a matter of fact, I would end it with apparently or something, or because like just with the science thing, it's like, oh well, like we know absolutely that this thing is happening in this side of the universe. I'm like, apparently,
well,
like it's like
listen, you raise a good point. Let's start there, because we had most recently. Dr. Stephen King, an amazing man, a gift to humanity.
I'm sure you were happy he died. You know, every God-fearing person was delighted. You know, he's burning in hell.
Well, you know, I gave a talk on hell once, and it was we'll put a pin on hell.
Yeah, okay.
But let's talk about Dr.
Please.
Hawking. A gift to humanity. It made tremendous advances for science. I saw, well, I'll just tell the truth. I saw some of my churchy friends make remarks. You know, now he knows there's really a God. Or I don't respect. I think, wow, you are relishing the fact that some man died.
That's very not
and even if
churchy.
Even if you really believed in the traditional concept of hell, why would you be cheering that? That someone might be, in your view, disconnected from God forever,
and you're celebrating.
That. Yeah. So. A few things I discovered about Dr. Hawking. Number one, he was raised in a fairly religious home and had won divinity awards for his memorization of Scripture.
Wow. And
one of his assistants was a active Christian, would spend his time in research in Dr. Hawking's office. Let's say start his morning with devotions and Bible stories, and then he pointed out, he would talk about them with Dr. Hawking, and they would have exchanges. I don't think Dr. Hawking was antagonistic. He was a man who was, I think, deeply, well, of course he was a deep thinker that had not really landed. And by the way, nobody knows what happens in the deep secret places of a man's or a woman's soul or heart those last few hours of their life. I think often that's where a lot of serious business or conversation goes on with God.
Yeah.
And since,
no matter what, if you believe it or not. Like, so,
right.
Yeah.
And God is, from my understanding of the Scriptures and the life of Jesus, God is more fair, he's more kind, and he's more loving than a lot of his followers.
I 100% agree there. Like, that's
so,
and I don't need to say apparently, because that's just I was raised super religious as well. Like,
Catholic, yes.
Yeah, super Catholic. Like, didn't even know there was Catholics, and there was Protestants, and all I knew was the Protestants were the bad guys, and that was it.
Yeah,
And there was no other religion. Like that was it. Like that was it. There was like what's a Jew? I was like, what do you mean by Jew? What's like fucking what's the
Muslim.
Quran? Yeah, like, what's that? I'm like, what are you talking about? And this is into my teenage years. Like,
well, I remember being raised Catholic as you were, and walking by a Mormon ward.
You changed teams, so
Well,
sell out, whatever.
sell out, reprobate. So, Dr. Hawking made some broad statements, as have other men or women, atheist philosophers, and that's a very intellectually robust position to hold. Mm-hmm. I would say this, that science is the observation of our physical universe and known universe and making calculations, but it doesn't answer. It can't answer the question of God. It can't. It can make some assumptions, but it can't answer the question definitively. Is there a God? Is there not a God? It's looking at the material world. Mm-hmm. When I look at philosophy or religion, and of course, as you may know, that's my university work was philosophy and religion, and art. That's the arena. Those are the places to ask those questions. What makes sense? And then you look out or within and say, well, where does love come from? Why do I have these thoughts, or why do I have these aspirations? And how do I know? It seems to me that those kind of questions point to something beyond ourselves. Now, I'll even concede that maybe it's not the Christian Judeo God that we understand in the scriptures, or maybe the Islamic God Allah, and even in the Quran, there's those references to Jesus and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the Greeks understood, and this is where I would disagree, is if the Greeks gave us the concept of a supreme being. Okay, there's a saying that, as Aristotle to the Gentiles, so Moses to the Jews. The Greeks understood that something like humanity, cannot come from chaos. Mm-hmm. So there has to be something else beyond our physical universe that causes us, right? They alluded to the Big Bang Theory. They alluded to a powerful moment when everything exploded into being.
Yeah.
Okay. Philosophy and religion would say, yes, except that God is in the category that supreme being is insufficient. He's not another type of being. He is the cause and the reason that beings are, period. He's not in our physical universe, per se, where you can be, let's say, measured or quantified. It's something else beyond that. Like, I forget what the Russian cosmonaut that flew into space and said, I'm out here in space and there's no God. I proved it.
Nope, not here.
That's not very solid work you've done there,
That's like the bad joke is like, I found Jesus. I was like, I didn't know he was missing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
When did he go missing?
Yeah. I don't know. Okay.
So nonetheless, so Dr. Hawking did some amazing things, and I hope he did find his answers and what he was probably ultimately looking for. That would be a great ending to that story.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I only know what, like, I'm allowed to read online about him. I don't know him. Like, I never hung out with him or anything like that.
And neither did I, by the way.
Yeah, no. Well, I know you can, as you said, like, you can look it up and read it and stuff. But like, the fact of the matter is, he did great things, and it just, he didn't believe in certain things. And I know, I understand now. There's this, like, is the word like more the neo-scientist, like, of this age now, is like, it's almost cool to be atheist as well, and it kind of fucking pisses me off, to be honest.
You're right. And the new atheists are a lot like the old atheists. I think the new atheists are doing well. They're using the tools of technology to promote their worldview and promote their ideas. And by the way, great. I mean,
fantastic.
Yeah, good for you. I think followers of Jesus, I'll say people who are religious. I'll even include my Islamic friends and Jewish friends and Christian friends. I think we have a place at that table of cultural conversation and say, well, here's our case for a theistic worldview.
I ask a stupid question. At so-called said table, or is there a chair for someone like me that isn't like? Because I don't care what, like, my friends will say, "Dude, Jimmy, you're a fucking atheist." I'm like, all right, whatever. Fuck, you need to put a label on me. Like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't know anything. Is there at that table of those people? Like, is there a chair at the table for like a guy like me that can just be like, I don't fucking know. I'm just here to like listen and try and learn, and I don't know, because I don't feel like it's. I guess everyone is super guarded in this day and age as well, like that. Like, I have my beliefs. This is what I believe. I have my team. This is it. No one.
My team. Yeah, you're interested.
Well, that's what it is. Though. It's like, you're not welcome if you don't think this. I'm like, no. I don't think it at all, but I want to know, please, so I can have an informed decision. Like, and that's why, again, it's important for me to talk to people like you and people like my friend TJ, and even like Ashley, talking to her. She's a fucking woman. I don't know what the fuck's going on in her head. Like, I don't know. I want to talk to different people and be respected, and not like I don't want a big wall in front of us going like, you don't believe it, but we're only going to give you X amount of information.
Yeah, that's. I hope you haven't had that experience, because.
Oh, of course I have. Come on.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but also, like, I'm a sellout Catholic, I betrayed to all of that as well.
Yeah.
So,
okay, let me address it. First of all, I would say yes, and I would say this: if you look at the biographies of Jesus, what people call the Gospels, those biographies, I would say, and somebody may find out if they want to look this up later. From my understanding, 90% of what we know about Jesus' life comes from those 4 books. There are references to the life of Jesus from other historians that were not friendly to the Christian faith, but were at least honest historians. They would comment about this guy, Joshua, what he did. There are some correspondence between people where they reference him as an example of an innocent suffering. And, so we have historical information to demonstrate that at least this guy lived. Who he was is always the question.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm totally okay with that again.
Cool.
To say it again, I'm like, yeah, I'm still on that
page, right?
Yeah.
But even in the Old Testament, and certainly in the New Testament, when somebody came with a question or doubt, they were never discouraged. They were never shamed for having a question. In fact, God in the Old Testament would say, if you seek me, you will find me. I'm not playing peekaboo. I'm not like, I'm sorry, I'm hiding. You can't find me. I know you really want to, but I'm not going to reveal myself. That is not the image of God in the Scripture, and I don't know why people in faith communities sometimes put that out there.
Yeah, it happened. Again, I have no interest in naming names. It doesn't matter. But like, it happened.
Just whispering.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's the microphone. Never mind. Like, it was a person within a circle of let me see, my professional community. Let's put it that way, in music.
Okay.
And super religious. Again, don't care. Like, be as religious as you want. I don't care. Super religious.
Right.
But over a short period of time became hypersensitive to any kind of critique or any kind of like, hey, like, this is a professional environment. Like, you can believe whatever you want to believe, as much as you can't be promoting like. You can't be promoting like God and Jesus as much as you can't be wearing Hawaiian shirts on stage. It's you can't be. You're selling a business. Like in McDonald's, you're not allowed.
Oh, to wear like a Lakers T-shirt because you're representing McDonald's.
Yeah.
So if you're performing, put the band stuff on, not your stuff.
You're doing your job now. Do your fucking job type thing. Like,
okay.
and this is like, I've met like hundreds of people in the last. So it would be very hard for anyone to guess even who this is. So I've met like hundreds of musicians and actors and stuff in the last year alone.
Right.
But it became a thing where I love podcasts. I listen to podcasts, so
Sure.
I listen to them aloud on a little Bluetooth speaker and stuff when I'm like hanging out or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's my time. I'll do whatever I want. Well, as much as like anyone critiquing the word Jesus Christ or like any minor, minute little fucking, just like a football fan. I'm the Broncos. Yeah, well, the fucking Dolphins are, fuck you, the fucking Broncos. Like, yes. It's the exact same fucking thing. It's all football and it's really stupid. So
that's even stranger to me because they've never played. They don't. Like, I'm supporting my team by showing up. Like, that's.
Yeah, it's like, I'm drinking beers and eating cheeseburgers in the name of the Broncos. Go Broncos.
But some people treat their faith that way.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And it actually became a serious issue last year with again, it was actually a number of small, little, tiny few people of the professional community I was in, and I became a source of the issue because I'm like, well, I didn't even say anything. It's basically because like I entertain so many different ideas and beliefs, and I listen to so many stuff, and I love talking about it. Like I fucking love talking about it.
Yeah.
It's great. I might learn something. Jesus.
Right.
You know, I even swear, Jesus. You know, I use it as a swear word all the time. Oh God, Lord's name in vain. Anyway, but it became this massive fucking issue for these people, this person in particular, and then the small little people around him. And that I'm a bad person. I'm a fucking shithead. I was going to say cunt, but you know, that's my beautiful word. I was a big cunt, basically. Like, so like, this person's evil or whatever. I'm like going, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? It's like, we're all experiencing the same world, and we're all giving out these stupid opinions that I don't respect any of them, even if I agree with them. Because I'm just like a tiny little fragment of space dust floating around here, just wanting to coexist with everyone and be cool and be allowed, say, just like, hey, the Dolphins are awesome. It's like, I don't like them. That's it. That's all. It's nothing against you. Like, what's your favorite basketball team? Don't like them. That's all. It's like,
don't
I
care.
like Chinese food. I'm like, I don't. So
what's even stranger to me is how people think that their words create some sort of violence against that person. Like, I don't like the Dolphins. How can you? Well, do you think the Dolphins are worried about your opinion?
No.
Yeah, you think that when they're cashing their check and driving their sports car, or they're playing on the field, like, oh my gosh, I just can't play today. Jimmy doesn't like us.
Yeah. That guy that he doesn't pay my bills,
But I'll say this: that in the same way, when people are super offended and want to defend God, like, well, if you really believe the story of God, He doesn't go out of His way to defend Himself either.
Yeah.
Jesus, if someone didn't believe in Jesus, he would just leave. Like, okay, we're cool, good. God even says, I caused the rain to fall on the just and the unjust. The same. Like, you're working yourselves up for a whole lot. We'll have conversation in business individually, but while you're taking on this fight for me, which I've never asked you to do.
Yeah.
I've learned something over the years regarding people in my faith communities and people in different political communities and that kind of thing. And that is, it seems to me that the fanatic, or the one who's the person that really defends their point of view, secretly doubts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I see, though.
And fear.
Yeah.
Because you and I are having the conversations. You've expressed some of your views. I've heard others. And I don't feel like I have a dog in that fight if what I have to say or how I live isn't compelling or winsome enough to cause curiosity, even to explore what I do or why I do it, or my ideas and my belief. Then how is raising my volume and yelling?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
None.
No, that's why I had to, like, again, take myself out. Like, I'm not American. It doesn't matter. Like, so but like watching the whole American political system
About guns,
everything, just fucking it down to like I don't like pro-life, pro-choice. But I'm like, going, what the fuck are you all talking about? Like, you like. And like, again, it's I can't, like, I kind of joke with Ashley a bit, like, cause she's like, he goes like, are you happy? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm happy. Or like, are you sad? Yeah, I'm sad. This is me. Like, it's like, I don't like, I emote my feelings, inside. Like, I feel it inside.
Right.
I don't feel, and maybe this is a fault of my own, or just something that's misfiring in my brain or something, to like, when you're sad, you must cry, you must be angry and loud. I'm like going, no, when I'm sad, it's just like, I'm fucking sad. I don't.
Jimmy, I don't know. I look with all the variety of people and all the different types of people and personalities, to say that this is the way of healthy emoting or healthy emotions, that's a tall order. Now, granted, there might be something about holding it in all the time that is could be unhealthy. Could be.
Yes. I get you.
But are you mean to tell me that every time something goes off, you have to wail and whine, and that's healthy too? So, I would say there's probably personality types and emotional frameworks that have a more emotive, expressive way, and others that are a bit more quiet.
Yeah. Especially in, like, because I think you just mentioned, like, you've done, you were skimming over what you do, and you did like relationship counseling and therapy, and it's like, I like all that because I like, and the reason, like, for example, like, I asked a woman to marry me, like, it means that I'm like, well, you know what, no matter what, for better or for worse, let's figure shit out. Fuck it, I'm choosing you to figure shit out with, because not for 1 second do I pretend, like, I don't know how long you've been married, but I don't pretend for 1 second I'm ever gonna know how that person functions, like my wife to be. Like, I'm like, you're a woman, you're a different person, you emote differently, you think differently, you feel differently, like, so. And like, we have this ongoing thing where we talk about, it's like, why do you love me? And I'm like, because I do. Like, again, it's kind of like, how do I weigh it, how do I fucking. And then she tells me why I love you, because I'm like, damn it, your answer was so much better. Like, so, but it's the same thing, but it's just like, I'm not saying it the same way. Or
welcome to the world of men and women and the different languages. And so, yeah, it is every relationship, straight, gay, platonic, marriages. It's just plain work at times, and figuring out how to fit in someone else's life, blending two lives into one. It's, yeah. I recall years ago when the kids were little, I used to mention to them that, and then I would say it in another way. Essentially, if you can have a non-sexual relationship with a member of the same sex, even an opposite sex, 2, 3, 4 years, and work through conflict, that kind of thing, you're developing the muscle for marriage, because it's one long relationship. But if you look at your relationships, whatever they are, and your work relationships, if they seem to have an expiration date, after a year, 2 years, they fall apart, and it's always somebody else's fault. Like, well, put off getting married, because you're bringing that relational skill into the marriage too. Yeah. Because sooner or later, the honeymoon's over with everything.
Yeah, I have this thing where no matter whose fucking fault it is, it has to be partly mine. Like, and I have to, because again, like, it's been a life altering. It's since the day I met you to the day now. It's been like I'm literally a different person. Like, I'm a completely different person. Hopefully a little bit wiser, but taking responsibility for your problems and taking responsibility for your actions and the way you have said or seen or done things before in the past. Right. And like, it's been like this horrifically bitter pill for me to swallow as well. Because I will. There's things I've done in my life that I will never tell anybody. Like, it's just like, I'd go as far as say as I'm ashamed of it, but I'm not ashamed of it. It's just like,
that wasn't my best moment.
It wasn't my best moment. Yeah. But a thing I have to admit to myself is, like, I was fucking wrong. Like, or I had a massive part in the doing of that wrongness or whatever.
Yeah.
It's this, again, it's this team mentality. It's this fucking, this is why I don't really get on with so many people. It's like, kind of like, I'm on a team. This is my opinion. I cannot be wavered or faltered. I am right no matter what. I'm like, no. Everybody take a breath for a minute. Like, so again, I'm emoting heavily. I'm waving my hands in the air. I'm screaming at your face.
So I must be right.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. And then all the while, I'm like, I'm just waiting for you to burn yourself out so we can have a fucking conversation. And if it turns out you're fucking right, then I'm the first person to go, oh, it turns out you're fucking right, man. Nice one.
I'll support that, and I'll talk about that. But see, what's strange to me is, I think is it Mark Marcone? He recently wrote a book called Fuck Your Feelings.
Oh, I think, I saw it on Amazon.
It's a comedian. Yeah. We have a movie that came out just recently. Said, can't anyone take a joke anymore? There's been a couple of TED Talks about this, that somehow we have elevated feelings to the place that they're almost this sacred thing, that because I feel a certain thing, I must be right. Or because I feel a certain thing, the world should accommodate to where I'm feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Emotions at best are unreliable.
Yeah.
They're no true indicator of truth or no true indicator of reality. They are fickle. They're an indication of you, but they're no indication of what's necessarily right.
Yeah.
Or even what's healthy. So the one benefit of having studied philosophy is, under the umbrella of philosophy, you have classes like epistemology and logic. In epistemology, we learn how to separate opinion from facts. And logic teaches us how to think and to make sure that our conclusions have at least a right foundation.
Yeah.
So when I hear people make comments and make statements, often people's arguments consist on repeating their view. Mm. Well, guns are bad. Why? Because they're bad. How long have they been bad? Well, they've always been bad because the guns are bad.
Yeah.
And so therefore, we got to get rid of things that are bad. We got to get rid of guns. Like, well, okay. Yeah, but you know what? I think people have approached their promoting their faith in the same way.
Yeah.
You know, we're good, and so you want to do good, of course. So you have to do what we do, and like, well, maybe I can't get there either with that point of view.
Yeah, there's good and there's like good and it doesn't have like guns, religion. It doesn't like there's good and bad parts to everything. There's a cup of coffee. It's delicious. It's good for me. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna have 10 of them. Oh no.
Oh, not so good.
No. That's not so good anymore. 5. I got maybe 2 or 3 a day. Like it's fucking everything though, and it's like maybe I'm just like I've become so closed in that I'm like I'm not really interested in talking to people that are like
dogmatic.
Yeah, soapbox fucking just like.
Well, listen,
to me.
I love church, and when I say that, I'm going to say church in terms of the worldwide mystical body of Jesus. So, my Orthodox friends, my Protestant friends, my Roman Catholic friends. People who share that belief, or let's say hold the Bible in a high regard. So that's what I mean by church. But I'm around enough people to recognize that I can look at it from the outside. I think clear enough to say like, man, sometimes we come off really weird. No wonder people think we're retarded, and stupid. And
you said the R word, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I say it all the time. I don't give a fuck. So
yeah, so I because we have made statements that lack intellectual rigor, they historically inaccurate, very dogmatic, and we are incapable of having a conversation to be able to at least not defend but explain why we believe. So if you mentioned some things like everybody has their dark secrets that they prefer no one know about, right? If I understand the story of God well, the story of God is that he knows those dark secrets. He chooses to love us. He chooses to enter our history in the form of Jesus Christ and says, there isn't anything about you that's going to really shock me, and I have nothing but love for you, and I want to restore, and I want to fix things. Even from the beginning in Adam and Eve, I mean, that story where they screw up, but the first thing you hear is that God came looking for them. In the scripture, God is always taking the initiative to find people who are disconnected from him. There's a story about a woman who was caught in the very act of adultery. Like, wow, that must have been awkward. But
yeah.
But when she's thrown in front of Jesus, and I say, oh, we should kill her, right? That's what the law says, stone her. Yeah. And he says, well, yeah, how about the first person that has no sin?
I love that's my favorite.
Cast the first stone.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I don't care if it's like that has nothing to do with God or religion for me. I'm sorry, that's just a life model for me. Like so,
totally is. I think maybe that gave the don't throw stones in glass houses sort of idea.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he tells her, look, I don't accuse you either, but stop living in an unhealthy way. You're looking for love, or at least you stopped believing in love to the point where you're trading sex for love.
Yeah.
So now she meets, by definition in the Bible, the author or the epitome of love, and so she finds what she's looking for.
Yeah.
So I know that at times some of our faith communities have been unwelcoming to people on the outside, but God has always been interested to people on the fringe.
Yeah, it's people using it. What upsets me about because like again, talking to you all makes fucking perfect sense. It's totally fine. Like this can be a perfectly rational, logical conversation that could be had by millions of people if they could just like listen. But,
be rational.
Yeah. Well, okay, there's the problem, right? Yeah.
There's the problem.
And my problem as well, as I discover, is like I am overly logical. I feel like logic can fix everything, which is not correct either. But just from my mindset, the way I think about things, like logic will fix everything in my head, I guess, or make me feel good. But as we said, like people are different, or you enter relationships or like that, and like, oh, well, not everybody is fucking logical. No. Or they're different, like as in they need, they emote different. They need things to settle themselves.
Well, I'll make a statement regarding the logic thing. That first of all, the best story will always win over a person or a culture. The best storyteller will be sought after. Mm-hmm. But in telling stories, there's a place for logic, let's say logos, as the Greeks would say it, and there's a place for pathos, or the emotion. And often, I think, occasionally, people, political, religious, whatever, lean into one or the other, ignoring the other portion of it. And some folks can be convinced by an emotional appeal. Do it for the kids. Stop doing this for the kids' sake, right? Some of it some people are swayed by the logic of it. Well, here's the evidence and this fact and these numbers and the study done in Harvard and all that. But I think sometimes maybe the most lasting are the ones that combine both logic and emotions to present the full story of whatever it might be. So whether it's in politics, whether it's in church religion, whether it's why we should buy this car over the other, if people use both tools, then they'll be able to persuade people to their point of view. What I've seen, as you experience, that a couple of things, at times our leaders or most vocal members of our church community, the ones that get the most press are the really goofy idiots.
Yeah, I feel bad for that as well. I'm like, because I'm the guy, or there's the guys like me that are the skeptic. We're the ones fucking. I don't fucking do it. I don't do it anymore. But we're the ones pushing that. Look, they're fucking batshit crazy. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, but look,
It's a team again. Sorry.
No. It's okay because you know how there's people in your personal family, like you realize how weird they are when you bring somebody else from outside your family in. Like I can remember sometimes inviting someone to church. All of a sudden I forgot. Wow, this is weird. I can see where somebody coming in this would seem odd. But I think of people who are Westboro, that crazy ass church, or
they picketed a show we did during the summer.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. In Kansas City. So. Was it Kansas City? Yeah, Kansas City. Yeah. That's where, and they show up with their
signs.
And unfortunately, I did play a part in this because one went. But it's funny though. It's funny. It's like one of our, like, me and Ashley. I got introduced to this company called Blackcraft. Like, they're a clothing brand from Orange County. So it's parody. It's like kind of like drink coffee, worship Satan type shit. Like it's I don't care. It's hilarious. But they have this infamous shirt online, and it just says in giant letters, "Fuck the Westboro Baptist Church."
Oh, you did post that.
Yes, because fuck the Westboro Baptist Church.
Because
and like the thing is, then like that day, that clothing brand was on the tour. They sell like all kinds of clothes. They're awesome. They're lovely guys, nicest people in the world. Fucking awesome. Big shout out to
not
the guys.
fans of Westboro, apparently.
Not, well, who the fuck is? But
yeah.
But that day, it was great. It was like, it was this kind of communal thing that happened amongst the entire tour. There's a tour of probably 400, 500 people. Gypsies. We're all gypsies. It's a circus.
Yeah.
I call it the circus. Where we arrive every morning, you see the same people doing the same jobs every day. We're a circus. It's 400 or 500 people. But the one day, we're all different parts of the world. But the one day we arrived in Kansas City, and then the Blackcraft were like, we'll give everyone the shirts if they want to wear fucked up, because they showed up. And we were like,
wow,
I don't care what you do. I don't like your music. I think you're a shitty musician, but we all fucking figure we all can't stand these motherfuckers. So what happened was, like, about 100 like musicians, roadies, tech guys they all put the shirts on, and they all went outside and just stood beside them. And we're like,
wow, you
guys are a fucking joke. Like, you're doing nothing here. Like, it's so fucking stupid. How, like, I watch so many documentaries on those, because like that's intriguing. Like there's something wrong there. There's a mental instability somewhere.
I have to agree with you. I think even if I don't even agree with what any of their signs or views. Like, their methods. I mean, there are some people I've seen, preachers on the street. You're going like,
that happens in Hollywood.
Yeah, it does. I'm thinking, what if you expressed God's love towards people with, I don't know,
without a megaphone,
or if you use the megaphone and preach the love of God towards people instead of God hates you or something.
You will damn to eternal nation. Blah, blah, blah.
Allow me a couple of minutes, because tomorrow is Easter, but it's also April Fool's Day, which is kind of funny.
Oh.
Yeah, because, it's just a funny,
I didn't even think about
funny
that.
juxtaposition of holidays.
Yeah.
Kind of touching back on something about, things I've done and this, that, and the other, to the people who are going to hear this podcast, years to come.
Yeah, I hope so.
When we're old and gray.
Yeah. I just had this envision like literally 5 minutes ago. I don't think I don't know if this will ever, like a few hundred people or maybe a few thousand people listen, which is cool, great.
Yeah.
But I just had this like maybe like this might be like, cause I'd love to see you on like Joe Rogan or something like that, like kind of like like the biggest podcast in the entire world, like millions of people watching it, and I'm like going, I would, because he's far smarter than me as well, and he's just an older guy with a lot more wisdom than me. I'm like, can you imagine if fucking Octavio was on Joe Rogan?
So if anybody knows Joe Rogan's people and
like,
they want to, put me on the show.
Oh my god! I didn't know, because I heard, because you were talking a few minutes ago, and I was like, this needs to be heard by like everybody.
So Joe Rogan's people, if you're hearing, I don't know where the show is produced in LA.
It's in Woodland Hills. It's up to it's like 10 minutes from here.
So I will drive myself over if you will buy me an In-N-Out or a Tommy Burger lunch.
I think he likes In-N-Out.
Okay,
Five Guys.
We're good. Five Guys is overpriced.
It's overpriced, but it's fucking good though.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is overpriced. I'll agree.
So tomorrow's Easter. People around the world, in the Asian world, in India, where I've done work and met like-minded people as myself. Tajikistan, where I met people like-minded myself. Ireland, Scotland. Tajikistan.
Where's that?
It's right above Afghanistan, next to China.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fantastic. It was a great time there. My friends, and I'll say my spiritual family.
I'm going to ask Duncan. Oh, sorry, what's the religion there? Or
well, it's a moderate Muslim country.
Okay.
People I did work with are followers of Jesus who are working with the Muslim communities and sharing ideas and principles.
Wow, imagine that, people working together.
You know what? What I really was eye-opening is discover how many times our Muslim friends are open to spiritual principles. They have no... If it's true, it's true. And I think I've said this before, truth is your friend.
Yeah.
Reality is your friend, even if it hurts at first. People that I've met in Ireland and Scotland, by the way, beautiful country.
All right.
Well, yeah,
it is.
You don't like the weather, and
the weather fucks me over. But like that, as we talked about earlier.
But the Guinness is good.
Oh my god! Every day,
so much better than here,
dude.
It's pasteurized when it gets here.
It's well, they add a gas for Guinness that travels.
That's right. We talked about this.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, sorry.
So no, it's okay. So my friends in Germany, I just was with last November. My friends in Norway and other countries. My spiritual family in Asia, around the world. We're going to be celebrating a holiday where we believe that God came in the form of a human being named Jesus Christ of Nazareth, lived to be about 33 or so, spent maybe 3 years in public ministry, public life, teaching, explaining, expounding, small business owner, had a wife, had a mom, had brothers and sisters, lived in the Middle East, in a country called Israel. Died, and somehow his death opens a door of possibility for us to connect to God, who is this blinding, hot, holy, but incredibly also loving God who loves his creation. Okay. And I would say that his life was meant to teach us what a human being could be.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But that comes out as, or his life's important if, and this is the only reason, his life and the Bible only matter if he physically resurrected from the dead. Otherwise, somewhere in the Middle East, his bones have turned to dust.
How do you figure that? Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's an old concept. Either he's everything or nothing. Here's why.
Oh, okay. That's kind of...
Well, yeah. Well, okay. Look. Well, let's say I'll put it to you. If I told you I was God, and I came from heaven, and I'm going back, you would say, "Yeah, Octavio, time to get in from the sun." You put me in a home. But let's say that I got into that center, and after treatment and whatever they do, and to treat people with mental illness, I still believed I was God. Well, if I die claiming that I'm saving the world through my death, like, no, you're not God.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say that I knew that I wasn't God, but I told people I was, and I start this movement, and I persuade people to leave their belief system or put their trust in me. And when I knew that I wasn't God, what a bastard. I'm not a good moral teacher as a lunatic. I'm not a good moral teacher as a bad person. But if I am God, in the form of a human being, in the form of Jesus, and I die, and I demonstrate my identity by showing my power over death, well, then all of a sudden, like, well, even though you have said things that are similar to other great religious teachers or world thinkers, you have an authority or a claim by physically raising from the dead. And to me, that's what the resurrection is about. It is proof. It is the period to the final exclamation point to his life. I came back from the dead to prove that I'm
a giant. I told you so.
The one big giant. I told you so.
Hashtag I told you so.
And by the way, not everybody bought it. Even the people who were his closest friends. First of all, none of his 11 followers did. And then 10 came around.
There was 12. Just one was a bad guy. Come on. He had issues. Okay.
Had issues, you know. We
talked about him as well last
maybe
time.
father issues, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See?
But to me, Thomas gets this bad rap for not believing Jesus when people have done it forever. The thing about Thomas's life that's fascinating is that after he becomes convinced that Jesus did physically come back from the dead, he spends the rest of his life proclaiming that message and ended up in India, where the Thomas tradition of followers is actually pretty strong. They can trace their history back to the Apostle Thomas. So that's why I said either if he's not physically resurrected, he's nothing. And Paul, in the Corinthian letter, 1 Corinthians 15, understood that. He says, if Jesus is still dead, there's no resurrection, we're still lost, we have no answers, we're just trying to figure it out like everybody else, and we are really a sorry sack of people because we're putting our hope into something that's not true.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying that tomorrow, Easter, is an important day for people of my faith, but hopefully maybe some people who will consider, well, maybe let me take a second look or a third look. If this is true, then it means everything. And if it's true, that means that the story of the scriptures are true. Jesus seemed to take the Bible seriously.
Yeah.
So maybe the God that is poorly portrayed in many, many faith communities is false, and the God that Jesus talked about, who forgives, the prodigal son story, the lost coin story, the God that goes looking, the sheep story, the God that goes looking, he's got 99 sheep. I lost one, that's okay.
Yeah.
No. He leaves 99 to go find the one.
Yeah.
The story of when Adam and Eve first blow it, he goes looking for them. That God is the story that is accurately portrayed in the life of Jesus, that I come looking for people who are damaged, don't know they're damaged. I come for the arrogant. I come for the diseased. I come from the unholy. I come from the sanctimonious. I come for everybody because I love you. You're my creation. And that's what we're celebrating tomorrow.
It does, that's like, it's cool. And then in my head, I'm like, because I don't want to belittle it. Does it matter that me, like, I don't care if it's true. Yeah. I just think, and I think we touched on this last time, like,
what's that?
I just think the stories alone are good lessons, like, and that's enough for me. Like, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't fucking care. Because sometimes a story can change a person's life. Like,
absolutely.
Like music or songs for me, like, they've changed my life. They don't have to be true. Like, they can be just fictionally made up, or they could be just an emotion expressed at a period of time where, oh, that works. Fuck, does anyone else connect? Yeah, I do. Fucking nice one. What's it about? I don't know, but it works. Like, well,
when I was pastoring a church, I would tell people, hey, look, if you're coming here and you're thinking, oh man, I can't be part of this because I don't believe all this. Great. Take what is helpful for you and leave the rest behind. I'll say this to you, as I'll say it to your listeners, and I said it to church. If you practice the lifestyle or the teachings of Jesus, you'll be a better human being. Yeah. Period.
I'm cool with that.
If you can't get to a place where, like, well, he's the Son of God, he resurrected at the virgin birth. Okay, cool. By the way, belief is a process. You and I don't have access to belief. We can't choose to believe something.
Yeah.
It comes on us like a creative moment, an aha moment. But I've never known people to be disappointed with, like, oh yeah, I tried to do that Jesus thing. That's not going to work. Well, forgiveness, generosity, moral courage, helping others, caring for the least fortunate. All these good virtues and every good human virtue are epitomized in the life of Jesus. Yeah. So, yeah, if that's going to be a role model, but I can't say that that's something I don't trust maybe what he had to say about the spiritual world. Okay. I think that we often come to God. Well, God seems to take us on any basis.
Yeah.
And the scripture often describes our spiritual relationship as a marriage between husband and wife. He often
With
refers,
God?
Yes,
Yeah.
he often refers to it as, I love you like a husband loves his wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me then
That's kind
put
of
it in a
gross, but okay.
in the sense that, even the mystics will often speak about spiritual ecstasy is parallels sexual ecstasy.
Yeah.
You'll see that in paintings, you'll see that in writings, you'll see that
Yeah, I
in
get you.
sculpture. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, having that context, then I'll make the statement that God will marry us, even though we just want to date him.
Yeah. just want to hang out on the weekends.
Yeah. He'll be committed fully to us, even though we just like, well, I like you on the weekends. You're the thing I have on the side. I'll rent you an apartment and keep you there.
I have this again, it's a close circle of friends. I've talked about him a lot. He's been on the podcast as well. The very first podcast I started with my friend Bob. Like he's just an older gentleman as well. Like
as well. Wow.
As well as no, I mean like all my friends are. So like it's just weird. I like people with life
You're
experience.
An old soul.
Dude, I'm fucking 82 in my head. I swear to ask Ashley what age I think I am in my head. She will tell you he's 82. I'm 82 going on 92. Like so.
Right.
But that's just who I am. Like, but he actually, and TJ, who I've mentioned, who was in a previous, like, we all have stories about this guy Bob. Like,
oh wow,
brilliant. And then all my friends I've met because of him all have the same stories. Like I don't want to blow smoke up his ass, because we insult each other every day on the phone. Like fuck you.
As well, you should.
Like, are you coming to play pool? No, fuck off. Like like that's because that's my relationship. It's awesome. It's actually loving and healthy. But the guy, he's a saint. He is like I always joke like because it's an if for me. If there is a God or a whatever like that, like, and if we die and if we go to heaven and all that, he's
Bob's
going
there.
He's there, and he is the hardest atheist you'll ever meet, and but the most wonderful person. It just has no time for it at all, but all his actions say otherwise. Like if I told you all the things he done, and then I said, "Oh, and he's very religious," you'd go, "Oh, of course he is." Obviously, he's a fantastic. He's done all these wonderful.
But he's not.
He is so far gone from it, and we have a conversation amongst friends, which we leave him out. We talk about him. That's like the guy's a fucking saint. Like he's saved. Like, and that's why I've met people like that, and then I've met people like you that opposite ends of the spectrum, but the quality of human being is so fucking good and so strong and so wonderful and so brilliant. It's like, that's why to me it doesn't matter if it's true, because
I see, because people can be good people without it at times,
and with it as well. I don't care if it's with or without it. It can happen. It just can happen. The possibility of you being just a fantastic fucking wonderful person,
right,
with all these wonderful values and all these wonderful moral traits and stuff, it can happen with or without it. That's why I get stuck in. It's like maybe it's inside our head. It's like maybe that the God that you're hearing, it's inside your head. It's something.
Voice,
it's his voice. It's in you already. Like it's just we're not tapped in. We're not hearing it correctly. And some people hear without it. Some people hear with it. Like. And then me in the middle going, I can hear something. I just, what the fuck?
What is it?
Yeah. Get out of my head.
Well, two things. Paul, I don't know where we're at with time, but
I don't care. Go.
Paul talks briefly about Gentiles, and referencing people, let's say, who were outside of a particular belief system in Christ or the Old Testament God. In Romans, where he says, hey man, some of these people have a moral code that puts what we do to shame. Like we should be better because we're claiming to know better.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes what's really ugly is people who proclaim to believe in Jesus and do the most un-Jesus thing in his Jesus name.
Yeah.
Second thing is that you were talking about, let's see here, my train of thought. The view that he lives a very happy life. It seems to me that people can live a virtuous life without a particular religion at all because it just works.
Yeah.
You know, a person who is generous, a person who is kind, a person that is patient, a person that is forgiving, a person that is all these virtues and traits that Paul, John, Peter encourage followers of Jesus to pursue and practiced because of their belief, right? People can do it without a Jesus cause or another cause. And since it's more in line with how we're wired to function, well, yeah, it makes more sense to live this way. It makes more sense to have a life of moderation, have a life that cares for the people. Why does it feel good to help people? Why does it feel good to love people? Why does it feel good? Because I think that's how we're wired.
Yeah, it just feels good. That's exactly. There's the answer. Was like when Ashley asked, "Why do you love me?" I'm like, "Because I do." Like it's.
Yeah.
Everything inside me works better. I don't. Is that the answer? I don't.
Well, see, I'll make this. Since you make that analogy, I'll make the suggestion that if people met Jesus as who he is, I think they would come to the same conclusion. Like, this fits better. I'm not willing to, vote Republican or give up my gun. Okay, great, don't.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you that every time a person is religious, they're going to go that way. Because certainly there are religious people who love Jesus on either spectrum of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
Pro-guns, not pro, all this kind of stuff. But I'm convinced that they will find the ultimate thing that they've been looking for, something that actually fits them as a person, and maybe begins to answer some questions for them as far as, well, then this explains why I have felt this or believed that or knew this.
Yeah.
So
I think it'd be weird as well, as like, because I don't. It's just an impossibility for me to think that everybody can think and agree on the same thing. It's just never going to happen. Like there's like some, but again, the virtuous life. Let's put it, if everyone can just find a little piece of that.
Yeah,
I think we will agree on a lot of things, and then it will come to a matter of fact that people will be like, "Hey, I believe in this, and you believe in that. That's cool. We both live a virtuous life. Fucking high five, buddy. Keep going."
Well, this is where I've had friends where I've shared from my philosophy training, Stoic philosophy writers like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, or some of my Chinese philosophy training, Confucius.
Go back. Marcus Aurelius was the
a Stoic philosopher.
But the actual
the guy from the Gladiator.
Yeah, but but that was like because I loved like those movies, and I love like old ancient history and stuff. Like,
well, a real person who said a lot of important things.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm just asking stupid questions.
It's okay.
Don't mind me.
So his writings as a Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, his writings as a Stoic philosopher, but the Analects from Confucius, their views on how to live and treat other people, treat animals, treat the planet, parallel and dovetail quite nicely into Christian thought. And so if someone is looking for a guide, they go, man, but if it's Christianity, I want nothing to do with it. Oh, well, here's another author that will be a good guide, precepts, teachings in terms of managing your life. So
that was when I first moved to America. I just bought a bunch of random books, but I went down a deep rabbit hole of like Buddhism and Taoism, and then I went too far, and I was like, "Oh, this is all bullshit." So, but it was to a point where again, it's just like I can't, dude. I've been raised in a religious household, religious school, religious society, so I know all the story. I still remember them, and it's just like. Fucking brilliant. I still get it. Like again, like who has not sinned cast the first stone.
Yeah.
I still say it all the time. I'm like, that's why I have to. I think that's actually I'll give credit to it. Maybe like that's where maybe I get my my that's a very logical thing to say.
What's
that? He who has not sinned cast.
Yeah.
That's fucking fair enough. That's a total.
Well, and think about that. That keeps a check on arrogance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, okay, so this, that what's funny is that we tend to dislike two things in other people: the thing that we do, and the thing that we've never done.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing, isn't it?
Right. So let's say I've never been a heroin addict, but like, oh my gosh, how can you be an addict? Like, well, I don't know what crap you've been through and how maybe you self-medicated. But goodness, I have my own crap. Why? It's just because it's a different crap?
Yeah.
Somehow I'm better than you?
Different big pile of shit.
Different big pile of poop. Yeah.
You got it. We got it. Everybody's got it. And honestly, it's I was joking yesterday. I was writing music for my band, A Trigger Within, like EP number 2 coming out soon. But I was joking about like the guys that like I'm going to get to play in the band, blah blah blah. And I aggressively talk to people because I want them to know what they're in for. If you're working with me,
right,
fucking. That's it. Like I'm like, there's no like, leave your ego at the fucking door.
Yeah.
I was like, and I said it with Matt yesterday. I was writing with him, and he goes, "There's no room for ego in this band because I'm still developing mine." Like so, because I just, I don't like. There's the healthy ego, and then there's the fucking the cunty ego, the shitty one that like you do fuck off. And over the years, I've definitely learned to like, you know what, that one needs to shut the hell up. Like that's going to be no good for me. And trying to develop a healthy ego is that's actually quite hard for me because Ashley gives me shit about it all the time. For anybody. Yeah, it's weird. Like, and even just like not to talk, and it's like the way I talk about myself. Like she said to me yesterday, she goes, "Hey, just think about the way you say things about yourself." Like it's very self-deprecating and stuff. And
That's right. That's self-image voices because they're still coloring who you are as a person. See, this is where I think exposure to the teachings and the life of Jesus changes those voices.
I love the way you bring it back to Jesus.
I know.
Here we go.
That kind of is who I am.
Yeah, but that's what works though.
Yeah.
Like so.
Hey, so I know you said you had a commitment. I have a birthday party. I'm going back to Whittier too.
Nice.
Barbara Woods.
Happy birthday.
Right. By the way, it's a surprise birthday, so don't post this until tomorrow.
Okay, right. Never mind. No, I won't be here till what they say. I lost track. Monday probably. So
perfect.
Yeah, but what I wanted to ask you earlier.
Yes, what's that?
Would I don't want to ever put anyone in an uncomfortable position that they don't want to be in. But would you come back and have a conversation with me and like TJ or someone like that? Like
sure, let's do that.
Because I just think like you both of you guys are such like wonderful, awesome fucking people.
Right.
And
well, thank you.
No. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Ego.
Apparently.
Yeah. Apparently, to me at least. Like so, but like I think you guys are on such opposite ends of the spectrum. It's like. It's just a perfect example of like the whole like the virtuous lifestyle. It doesn't matter for me. It doesn't matter where it comes from. I really don't care. As long as you are that person and like you're that person to me, like he's that person to me. The few guys that I do actually,
let's do that. That would be an interesting conversation because he might have some perspectives and point of view that you have not thought of. And And by the way, I mean I'm, I guess 45 years into believing in Jesus.
Yeah.
I get it.
In Jesus.
That
guy.
I could be wrong. I recognize there's a possible world where this is all nonsense. So if someone can point that out for me,
I don't want to do that here, but no.
Yeah. Kind of like what Martin Luther said. If you can persuade me by reason or the scriptures, I'll change my point of view.
Yeah.
But until then, it's not healthy or safe for me to violate my conscience.
That's amazing. I think that's a perfect way to end it. So it's like that is it, and that makes me again that all an hour and a half of conversation, that simply alone by itself makes me feel good inside because it validates my feelings, it validates everyone else's, and it's like that's exactly where I want to be in life as well.
And you know what? If we can have sane, rational conversations with people with different points of view, maybe we can hopefully be an example for people with the gun control debate, with the abortion debate.
Don't be afraid of this, Mike.
Gun control debate, the abortion debate, and just look, we may not have an agreement in the first conversation, and we may never agree, but we're on this planet. We got to find a way to work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for people of different points of view to get along. So.
Absolutely. So before we go, your book that you co-wrote.
Yes. Right. Co-authored. Habits, The Sixth Step to the Art of Influence.
Is on Amazon, right?
It's on Amazon.
Sick.
Barnes & Noble. There's an ebook, Kindle version. We have a audio version coming out pretty soon. You can go to habitsthebook.com to get more information about Dr. Goodlow or myself, or you can go directly to Octavio Cesar Martinez.com.
There's that wonderful name.
There's that name.
It's like a fucking saint.
And if you're looking to purchase the book in single or bulk qualities, contact me directly, and I'll make that happen at a better price.
What I'll do is when you leave or get home or tomorrow, send me all the links in a text.
Oh, you put them on there.
I'll put them in the bottom of the...
Right here.
Right There. Okay, exactly. We didn't even plan that. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. You're one of my favorite people. So
thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
I love you
coming.
guys. We appreciate that.
Yeah, let's organize. So in a few weeks, we'll do one with you and TJ. I would love for him to get in because he's a super nice guy as well. Like so, and then for me, it's all the same social medias at Jimmy Trigger, at the Triggerman podcast. I'll link Octavio and the book and all that stuff. And I never know how to end this. It's super awkward. So
we'll say goodbye.
What's that over there? Okay, see ya. This is the Triggerman podcast. Thank you.
Bye.
Move, motherfucker, get out of my way.